Good evening. Southern View comes to you today from the University of Hyderabad. I am Uma Sudhir and we are here coming to you live from the University of Hyderabad that's turned virtually into a battlefield in the last few days with the students on the campus actually demanding a rollback of the proposals of the Telangana government led by Mr. Revanth Reddy, who has proposed that 400 acres, that is disputed, should I say, of university land which the government claims belongs to the government, and the University of Hyderabad is saying that no demarcation has actually happened, defining the boundaries. So that kind of contest on who owns the land and what is going to happen with that land, with all these students who are even now filling around this area, actually talking about wanting to save the land because they believe it is university land. They believe this is something they're doing for the future of not just their own university but also of the city and the country at a time when climate concerns are at their highest. Let's take a look at what happened through the day today in this report. Protests continued on the campus of the University of Hyderabad on Tuesday as unrelenting students demanded that the Revanth Reddy government must withdraw its proposal to take over and put on auction a 400-acre land parcel at Kanchagachibowli.
They are destroying this whole greenery campus and building these concrete jungles. And we say that मासूम जानवरों की लेकर जान तुम सजाते हो अपनी मोहब्बत की दुकान.
Detained students union leaders including me and those students who came here in retaliation in protest were beaten, brutally attacked, brutally beaten up with helmets, lathis. Female students were dragged. They were taken away to different police stations.
Completely a movement driven by the students only. That is our land. That is if you go to the East Campus, if you see this side, they are doing the bulldozering, and that side there is a department. That is our campus. We are fighting for our campus. We are not fighting for any political agenda. Not outside the campus, not inside the campus.
BJP MLAs who tried to visit the university campus were put on house arrest.
Earlier, when Revanth Reddy was PCC president, he has protested against the sale of land by then government TRS. There was a huge land being auctioned by then government, and this man as a PCC president fought against them. Even he has given a letter to the CBI to investigate against the land sale. Today this land is being taken away and sold. Tomorrow they will similarly do this with all the university lands or any other private lands or assigned lands.
The ruling Congress says the BRS and BJP are hand in glove. It alleges that the BJP had not protested when the BRS government had allegedly handed over HCU land to private entities.
KTR is talking about HCU. He is the man who handed over hundreds of acres of land to his Benami, Rameshwar Rao. My home, Vihanga, high-rise building has been erected there. That is the pure land of HCU. Now KTR, Kishan Reddy and Sanjay has to answer.
ఇది మీకు వినబడతలేదా రాహుల్ గాంధీ గారు నేను అడుగుతా ఉన్నా. పర్యావరణ ప్రేమికులు, దేశ స్థాయిలో రాష్ట్ర స్థాయిలో ఉన్నవాళ్ళు, మేధావులు మౌనంగా ఎందుకున్నారని మేము అడుగుతున్నాం. పిల్లలు అడుగుతున్నారు. మీకేం కనబడట్లేదా?
Contradictory claims and counterclaims on who owns the 400 acres of land at Kanchagachibowli, charges and counter-charges between the different political parties on who wants to auction land and sell it off. And beyond all this politics, the ultimate question of whether economic development of an IT park to create jobs will have to necessarily come at an ecological cost. In Hyderabad, with camera person Nagraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV. So politics is speaking even as tensions are growing on the campus. As you can see around me, huge numbers of students even now are gathered now late evening. That has not deterred them all day long. Yesterday, the day before, they have all been here and they are all speaking in one voice saying that they want to oppose the move of the Telangana government to take over 400 acres of land in order to what the government says is going to be development of an IT park there. I'm also joined on on the show by Mr. Srinivas Reddy Kambam, spokesperson for the Congress. I also have Mr. Sandeep Shastri, Director of Academics, NIT Education Trust, and who's also National Coordinator of the Lokniti Network. And I also have Kajal Maheshwari, someone who has been speaking about the need for green lungs in to be taken into account whenever we are talking about urban development as well. First, I'm going to go across to some students here. You have all been protesting here. What is your big demand?
Our big demand, they should stop that nonsense that's going on since 3 days. The bulldozers, they are just destroying everything. They should stop that. That's our demand.
You are a professor here. You have seen HCU have many protests over many years now. This particular protest asking for protecting the fragile ecological system of the Hyderabad University campus.
This is a genuine demand, Uma. I think the people in power has to listen to what students are saying very carefully. Because if you look at the way they are planning to build this 400 acres, the layout I have seen, the TGIAC plan, it comes close to the lake. Please have a look at that. So even if you go by the rules of Hydra, which they have been sincerely trying to implement, how can they show a layout which is close to the FTL level? Right? You please go on, media can go and check the maps. So the maps of TGIAC just abuts almost to the water level. And wherever they're building right now, if they plan to build right now that 400 acres, if they build multi-storied buildings, they will generate so much of sewage, our lakes will become cesspools. So
that is a big concern. You are someone who's studying what? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, myself Priyanka Priyadarshini. I'm a PhD scholar. I'm doing my PhD in ecological concern in Hindi literature. So I'll recite a poem and I'll give another my colleagues to talk about. So there is a poem of Naresh Saxena, a prominent Hindi writer, poet. नक्शे में जंगल है, पेड़ नहीं, नक्शे में पहाड़ है, पत्थर नहीं, नक्शे में नदियाँ हैं, पानी नहीं, नक्शे में देश है, लोग नहीं. समझ ही गए होंगे आप कि हम सभी एक नक्शे में रहते हैं और तफरीह की जगह नहीं है यह. मुझे लगता है एक दिन तमाम नक्शों को मोड़कर जेब में रख लेगा ये मसखड़ा और चलता बनेगा. तो हमारी लड़ाई बस अपने जंगल को बचाने की है जो सच में हो, नक्शों में ना रह जाए.
Priyanka, thank you so much for that. I am actually going to take what the professor said to Mr. Srinivas Reddy, spokesperson of the Congress. 2 points here, Mr. Reddy. One, the concern that what is considered as a forest area or has been called a forest area by the students. I know the government is not calling it a forest area. That is one thing. And your political opponents are saying that why are you auctioning government land? Can't you find another place for development of an IT park if you're talking about economic development? Why are you disturbing the ecological fragility of the university campus that's supposed to be spread over 2,300 acres?
Good evening, Uma. First of all, I would like to take you to the ownership of the land. As of now, the ownership of the land, everybody is saying that this is university land, this is government land. In 2004, February 2004, this bit of land, in survey number 25 of the Kanchagachiboli village, which is now being the bone of contention here, was exchanged for another bit of land in Gopanpalli village in survey number 36 and 37 of Gopanpalli village. I can show you the copies of the same, which those were already signed by the registrar at that point of time, in the presence of the registrar at that point of time. So there is no such thing as university land over here. It is government land. The Supreme Court has decided on that. Anything we talk against the Supreme Court again amounts to contempt of court here. The court has decided that it is government land. Second aspect here is that we are saying that it is a forest land. Forest land, it is not mentioned anywhere that it is forest land. It is, if you see the revenue records, it is mentioned as Kancha government land, if you see that. So even in the revenue records, it is clearly shown as a government land here. So definitely there is no scope of destroying any forest. There is no reserve forest out here or anything of that sort. Government wants to develop a IT corridor, mixed use IT corridor, and in the sustainable development policy by, for generating employment, generating revenue, and creating a lot of infrastructure, developing infrastructure for creating a lot of.
That point is taken about you wanting to generate revenue and jobs and economic development, and an IT park is welcome. But what the students are asking is, ownership may belong to anyone, but why are you taking away land that where we see deer running around, peacocks running around? Sandhya, the Congress has been speaking about this as something that where you're playing politics, as in political parties are playing the students' emotions.
See, everyone need to understand this, that this is not student versus administration or student versus state or any political party. This is basically necessity versus luxury. Trees, oxygen, greenery, biodiversity is our necessity. Whether this IT park or any corporate sector is the luxury. So, as I said it earlier, that this movement is only driven by the students' community only. This movement is only driven by the student community, and we don't have any, like, obviously it's a mudda of the citizen, because the people of Hyderabad is going to be affected with it. And if you can see that so many actors are giving their comment on it. Also, there was a question in the Rajya Sabha about the matter also. So obviously, because it's a matter related to the people, that's why
Future of the country. As students, what are you saying? What is your contention that, right now, jobs is one of the biggest issues for the country, and they are saying we are bringing in IT park, which will bring development, economic development of the country, as well as employment for youth.
Ma'am, if they're saying they're doing it for youth jobs, they are throwing the idea of satellite cities into a toss. They can develop any other place into any other cities with sustainable development approach. But here, where there are species that are vulnerable at which are red vulnerable in the IUCN list, like Indian star tortoise, why do they need this land only? We are protesting for our right, for fundamental right to clean and healthy environment. This is what they are taking away from us.
What is your...
मैम आई विल स्टार्ट विथ अ लाइन, मेरे सीने में नहीं तो तेरे सीने में सही हो कहीं भी आग, लेकिन आग जलनी चाहिए. एंड दिस फायर विल burn the ego of Revanth Reddy, and we the student community will burn his ego. And we are continuously protesting from last 48 hours to protect our campus biodiversity. If this land not belong to this university, doesn't matter at all, but why are you destroying the biodiversity of this university? If you want to set up any IT park, you can set up far. There are many places in Hyderabad, ma'am. There are many places. Why are you concerned about this land only?
Okay. I am going to take this across to Kajal. Kajal, you are someone who has protested against the previous governments as well, talking about green spaces and why trees need to be protected. What is your view on what is happening here? Because now, of course, the BRS and the BJP are saying that we stand with the students. Kajal, if you can unmute yourself, we are not able to hear you. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that...
go ahead, please go ahead, Kajal.
Yeah. So whether it is BRS, BJP, whoever is supporting, and from the very early days, I say that to me, this campaign is more about a citizen initiative, Other people might join the bandwagon to kind of encash on the whole campaign, but it's very evident, okay, if you see these faces of the college students, or if you even see, the other citizen groups that are involved, it is a citizen initiative. So let's keep the politics out of it. And why is it important it's a citizen initiative? Because citizens are the ones who are here for their lifetime. This land is a joint property belonging to the public, to their children. These governments are here for 5 years. In 5 years, they do whatever, make hay while the sun shines, and they move out. I'm speaking the language of a citizen. For a citizen, this is, not everyone, there's this thing in latest in news that most of the Indians are, going to Dubai and all of that. Why is this necessity arising? Because the political will to do good for its citizens is so low. If you are truly a leader, if you're truly a visionary, you will realize that today the number one threat to human existence is nothing but climate change. The earthquake that has recently happened, everything is pointing in that direction, that climate is the number one concern. So I think the students are very
Dr.
justified.
Sandeep Shastri, let me bring you in here and ask, Dr. Sandeep Shastri, let me bring you in here and ask, politics, economic development, environmental concerns, huge concern always. It's a very, should I say, cocktail which all the ruling governments have to kind of go through that process. And when they are in power, they say this is the only way forward. And when they are in the opposition, they start talking about environmental concerns and why governments should not auction lands. Do you think now that it's time for governments to come together and start talking about it? Like Kajal was mentioning, this is a concern beyond political parties.
I think multiple issues have got enmeshed into this controversy. I think the dialogue we are having till now, I think clearly indicates it's not a question of whose land it is. I think the Congress leader rightly put out certain papers where the registrar of the university has also signed to the fact that compensatory land was given. I think the students are raising the environmental question, that what is a lake and what is an area where you have certain species of birds and other animals there, which is home to them. You are converting that into a IT park. The professor also made the point that the layout of the IT park is going to be very close to the lake. So I think it is essentially an environmental concern. I've also read somewhere that whatever is being auctioned is aiming at protecting the diversity that the land is supposed to represent. So we really don't know what are the finer details here. I think it's a fact that the environmental concerns need to be addressed. It's also a fact that you need to provide space for development activity, for employment generation. And if this particular space is environmentally very important to protect, I think it's important that the government finds an alternative place for the IT park, or if it's possible to locate the IT park in this area, satisfying the concerns of the environmentalists, I think that is something also which could be thought about. So I think the issues need to be through and keep politics out of the issue. That I think is very critical. Because the moment politics comes in, then it is a question of your government versus my government, my party versus your party, and the issue gets forgotten.
Yes, indeed. That's a very important point that you make about, political parties can't behave differently when they are in power and when they are out of power. Let me take this back to Mr. Srinivas Reddy and ask him this. Chief Minister Revant Reddy, when he was not the Chief Minister, not in the Chief Minister's chair, he had in fact written to agencies asking for why government lands are being auctioned. He brought in a body like the Hydra saying that we want to protect microclimate, we want to protect water bodies, and yet given that they are the financial constraints on your government, you're going ahead and doing something that the citizens are clearly protesting.
Actually, I would like to mention something here. The development and environmental protection definitely are anywhere we do in the world. When we go ahead with the development of a certain area, there are environmental concerns. Every government definitely has to take steps to, address these issues. Likewise, our government is also trying to address these issues by, we have very clearly stated that we are going to do something sustainable over here. It is going to be a balanced development. Again, I'm reiterating, it is going to be a balanced development wherein the environmental concerns will be taken into consideration, as well as development of the land will also be taken into consideration. We are talking about 2 lakes in the vicinity of this.
Bring in Mr. Raula Sridhar Reddy into the discussion as well. He represents the BRS party, and the BRS has been at the forefront in supporting the students. Mr. K.T. Ramarao has been tweeting his support to the students and talking about the cries of the deer and the peacock on the grounds of the University of Hyderabad campus. Mr. Raula Sridhar Reddy, the criticism against you is that when you were in government, you were also going ahead with projects that were destroying the green lung of Hyderabad, and now you are, should I say, shedding crocodile tears for the greenery at the University of Hyderabad. That's a criticism against you.
Volume.
Mr. Sridhar Reddy, I think you need to unmute your mic. We're not able to hear you.
Only to justify this kind of a act of destroying the land space there, Congress party is trying to throw venom on us. They have to show where we have done that. And allocating land for development or infrastructure is different. But what is the need to entirely destroy 400 acres of land where it's a lung space where you have huge trees and all that? It is a place for all the flora and fauna and all that. You have as per the report, there are more than 734 plant species, more than 220 bird species, deers, pythons, century-old trees. All are being destroyed, and the protesting students were treated very badly. They were dragged, they were beaten, they were thrashed. FIRs are booked, and the FIR shows clearly that they are wielding weapons, carrying deadly weapons. Is this the way the government has to behave? They have a rightful protest that they are doing peacefully, and it's their right. And as other panelists, I wanted to tell you, other co-panelists who are the activists. See, sir, ma'am, political parties, will have their own say. Definitely, we also work for the society, right? It is turning political. One need not to have any apprehension. We, as a political party, work for the people, on behalf of the people. Today, the government is acting
Mr.
very
Reddy,
brutally there. The responsibility to protest, and we will support the protesters and the students. And I strongly demand the government to take back this auction. 400 acres. We have huge land bank, around Hyderabad. Why there is a need to only auction?
Okay, I'll have to wrap this up. I need to wrap up here. Therefore, I'm going to take last voices from the students very quickly. What are your last thoughts?
I have 3 questions from the Congress representative. First thing, the Congress government here is at the verge of bankruptcy. They haven't paid their pensions, salaries and DA to their employees on time for the last 3-4 months. So are they trying to cover their failures by selling the educational institutions land? Second thing, if their priority is selling educational institution land, then where is the priority of education in their agenda? And third thing is, we have a constitutional right, a right to healthy life. Aren't they trying to suffocate the Hyderabad by clearing the lungs of Hyderabad, by destroying it, by clearing the trees? I want the answers from the Telangana government and the Congress representative.
Okay, that's very well put, asking questions of the government. But of course, the land ownership per se is a matter that's been settled by the top court in the country as well. But the other question that he asked about the health of the city of Hyderabad and the people of the country, that's something that perhaps is something that demands answers from every establishment, every government that has to deal with this debate about development versus ecology, the cost of environment cost that we are paying for this. Thank you so much, all my guests, Mr. Sandeep Shastri, Mr. Raula Sridhar Reddy, Kajal Maheshwari, as well as Mr. Srinivas Reddy joining us on this debate. And thank you all the students for joining us on this debate. We will continue our coverage of the protests on this campus, which have been on now for 2 days and still continuing. Will the government relent is the big question. Thank you so much for watching.